To the Dane Bernardo.
What is Horatio there?
Oh, peace, Subin.
Welcome, Horatio. Welcome, good Marcellus.
What has this thing appeared again tonight?
I have seen nothing.
Horatio says 'tis but our fantasy. Therefore, I have entreated him along with us, to watch with us the minutes of this night, that if, again, this apparition come, he may approve our eyes and speak to it.
Tush will not appear.
Sit down a while. Let us once again assail your ears that are so fortified against our story. What we have 2 nights seen.
Well, sit me down, and let us hear Bernardo speak of this.
Last night of all, when yon same star that's westward from the pole had made his course to illume that part of heaven where now it burns, Marcellus and myself, the bell then beating one.
Peace! Break thee up! Look where it comes again.
In the same figure like the king that's dead.
Thou art a scholar, speak to it, Horatio.
Looks enough like the king, mark it, Horatio.
Most like. It harrows me with fear and wonder.
It would be spoke to.
Question it, Horatio.
What art thou? That usurp this time of night, together with that fair and warlike form in which the majesty of fairy Denmark did sometimes march. By heaven, I charge thee, speak!
It is offended.
Oh, see, it stalks away.
Stay! Speak!
'Tis gone and will not answer.
Oh, now, Horatio, you tremble and look pale. Is not this something more than fantasy? What you think on it?
Before my God, I would not disbelieve without the sensible and true avouch of mine own eyes.
Is it not like the king?
As thou art to thyself, 'tis strange.
Thus twice before, and jumped at this dead hour with martial stock hath he gone by our watch.
In what particular thought to work, I know not, but in the gross and scope of my opinion, this bodes some strange eruption to our state. But so, lo, behold, where it comes again. Oh, crosses, don't blast me. Stay! Illusion! If thou hast any sound or use of voice, speak to me. If there be any good thing to be done that may to thee do ease and grace to me, speak to me. If thou art privy to thy country's fate, which happily foreknowing may avoid, stay and speak. Marcellus!
Shall I strike in with my partisans?
Do what but will not speak?
'Tis gone. We do it wrong being so majestical, to offer it the show of violence, for it is as the air, invulnerable, and our vain blows malicious mockery.
It was about to speak when the cock crew.
And then it started, like a guilty thing upon a fearful sin. Break your watch up, and by my advice, let us impart what we have seen tonight unto young Hamlet, for upon my life, this spirit, dumb to us, will speak to him. Do you consent? We shall acquaint him with it as needful in our duty, fitting our love.
Let's do it, I pray. And let us morning know we shall find him most conveniently.
Hamlet, our dear brother's death, the memory be green, and that it us be fitted to bear our hearts in grief, and our whole kingdom to be contracted in one brow of woe. Yet so far hath discretion fought with nature, that we with wisest sorrow think on him together with remembrance of ourself. Therefore, our sometime sister, now our queen, the imperial jointress to this warlike state, have we, as 'twere with a defeated joy, with an auspicious and a dropping eye, with mirth in funeral and with dirge in marriage, in equal scale, weighing delight and dole, taken to wife. Nor have we herein barred your better wisdoms, which have freely gone with this affair along, for all our thanks. And now, lay Laertes, what's the news with you? You told us of some suit. What is it, Laertes? You cannot speak of reason to the Dane and lose your voice. What wouldst thou beg, Laertes? That shall not be my offer, not thy asking. The head is not more native to the heart, the hand more instrumental to the mouth than is the throne of Denmark to thy father. What wouldst thou have, Laertes?
My dread lord, your leave and favor to return to France, from whence, though willingly, I came to Denmark to show my duty in your coronation. Yet now, I must confess that duty done, my thoughts and wishes bend again toward France and bow them to your gracious leave and pardon.
Have you your father's leave? What says Polonius?
He hath, my lord, wrung for me my slow leave by laborsome petition, and at last upon his will I sealed my hard consent. I do beseech you, give him leave to go.
Take thy fair hour, Laertes, time be thine, and thy best graces spend it at thy will. And now, my cousin Hamlet and my son.
A little more than kin and less than kind.
How is it that the clouds still hang on you?
Not so, my lord. I am too much in the sun.
Good Hamlet, cast thy nighty colour off, and let thine eye look like a friend on Denmark. Do not forever with thy veiled lids seek for thy noble father in the dust. Thou know'st 'tis common. All that lives must die, passing through nature to eternity.
Aye, madam, it is common.
If it be, why seems it so particular with thee?
Seems, madam. Nay, it is, I know not seems. 'Tis not alone my inky cloak, good mother, nor customary suits of solemn black, nor windy suspirations of forced breath. No, nor the fruitful river in the eye, nor the dejected behavior in the visage, together with all forms, moods, shapes of grief, can denote me truly. For these indeed seem, madam. They are all actions that a man might play, but I have that within which passage show these but the trappings and the suits of woe.
'Tis sweet and commendable in your nature, Hamlet, to give these mourning duties to your father. But you must know, your father lost a father, and that father lost his. And there's so ever bound in filial obligation for some term to do obsequious to sorrow. But to persever in obstinate condolement is a course of impious stubbornness. 'Tis unmanly grief. It shows a will most incorrect to heaven, a heart unfortified, a mind impatient, an understanding simple and unschooled, to reason most absurd, whose common theme is death of fathers, and who still hath cried from the first corpse till he that died today, this must be so. We pray you, throw to earth this unprevailing woe, and think of us as of a father. For, let the world take note, you are the most immediate to our throne, and with no less nobility of love than that which dearest father bears his son, do I impart toward you. For your intent in going back to school in Wittenberg, it is most retrograde to our desire, and we beseech you, bend you, to remain here in the cheer and comfort of our eye, our chiefest courtier cousin, and our son.
Let not thy mother lose her prayers, Hamlet. I pray thee, stay with us. Go not to Wittenberg.
I will in all my best obey you, madam.
Why, 'tis a loving and a fair reply. Be as ourself in Denmark. Madam, come. This gentle and unforced accord of Hamlet sits smiling to my heart. Come, away!
tell mother that he might not beteem the winds of heaven visit her face too roughly. Heaven and earth must I remember, where she would hang on him as an increase in appetite thrown by what it fed on, and yet within a month. Let me not think that. Frailty. Thy name is woman. A little month. Ere yet, the shoes were old, with which he followed my poor father's body like Niobe, all tears. Was she, even she, oh God, a beast that once discourse of reason would have mourned longer. Married with mine uncle, my father's brother, but no more like my father than I to Hercules. Was she, within a month, Ariel, the salt of most unrighteous tears had left the flushing in her galled eyes. She married, almost wicked speed to post with such dexterity to incestuous sheets. It is not, nor it cannot come to good, but break my heart, for I must hold my tongue.
Hail to your lordship.
I'm glad to see you well. Horatio! Or I do forget myself!
The same, my lord, and your poor servant ever.
Sir, my good friend, I will change that name with you. What make you from Wittenberg, Horatio? Marcellus.
My lord?
I'm glad to see you well. Good evening, sir. But what in faith make you from Wittenberg?
True disposition, my good lord.
I would not hear your enemy say so, nor shall you do mine ear that violence to make a truster of your own report against yourself. I know you are no truant. But come, what is your affair in Elsinore? We'll teach you to drink deep ere you depart.
My lord, I came to see your father's funeral.
I pray thee do not mock me, fellow student. I think it was to see my mother's wedding.
Indeed, my lord, it followed hard upon.
Thrift, Horatio! The funeral baked meats did coldly furnish forth the marriage tables. But I had seen my dearest foe in heaven wherever I had seen that day, Horatio. My father. Methinks I see my father.
Where, my lord?
In my mind's eye, Horatio?
I saw him. Once he was a goodly king.
He was a man. Take him for all in all, I shall not look upon his like again.
My lord, I think I saw him yesterday.
Saw who?
My lord, the king, your father.
The king, my father.
Ceasing your admiration for a while with an attent ear till I may deliver upon the witness of these gentlemen this marvel to you.
For God's love, let me hear.
2 nights together had these gentlemen, Marcellus and Bernardo, on their watch in the dead vast and middle of the night, and thus encountered a figure like your father appears before them, and with solemn march goes slow and stately by them. Thrice he walked by their abreast, and fierce surprised eyes within his trenchant's length, whilst they, distilled almost to jelly with the act of fear, stand dumb and speak not to him. This to me in dreadful secrecy in part they did, and I with them the 3rd night kept the watch, where, as they had delivered, both in time, form of the thing, each word made true and good. The apparition comes. I knew your father. These hands are not more like.
But where was this?
My lord, upon the platform where we watched.
Did you not speak to it?
I did, my lord, but answer made it none. Yet once methought it lifted up its head and did address itself to motion like as it would speak. But even then the morning cock crew loud, and at the sound it shrunk in haste away and vanished from our sight.
'Tis very strange.
As I do live, my honored lord, 'tis true. And we thought it writ down in our duty to let you know of it.
Indeed, sirs, but this troubles me. Hold you the watch tonight?
We do, my lord.
What looked he? Frowningly,
I countenance more in sorrow than in anger.
and fixed his eyes upon you?
Most constant.
Would I have been there?
It would have much amazed you.
Very like. Very like. Stayed it long?
Well, one with moderate haste might tell 100.
Longer.
Longer?
Not when I saw it.
I'll watch tonight. Perchance 'twill walk again?
I warn it will.
If it assume my noble father's person, I will speak to it, though hell itself should gape and bid me hold my peace. I pray you all, If you have hitherto concealed this sight, let it be tenable in your silence still. And whatsoever else should hap tonight, give it an understanding, but no tongue. I will requite your loves. So fare you well. Upon the platform twixt 11 and 12, I will visit you.
Our duty to your honor.
Your loves is mine to you. Farewell. My father's spirit in arms. All is not well. I doubt some foul play. The night were come. Until then, sit still my soul. Foul deeds will rise, though all the world o'erwhelm them to men's eyes.
My necessaries are embarked. Farewell. And sister, as the winds give benefit and convoy is assistant, do not sleep, but let me hear from you.
Do you doubt that?
For Hamlet, the trifling of his favor, hold it as a faction and a toy in blood, a violet in the youth of primy nature. Forward, not permanent. Sweet, not lasting. The perfume and suppliance of a minute, no more.
No more but so.
Think it no more. For he himself is subject to his birth. He may not, as unvalued persons do, carve for himself. For on his choice depends the health and safety of this whole state. And therefore must his choice be circumscribed unto the voice and yielding of that body whereof he is the head. Then if he says he loves you, it fits your wisdom so far to believe it, as he in his particular act and place may give his same deed, which is no further than the main voice of Denmark goes withal. And weigh what loss your honor may sustain. If with due Cretan ear you list his songs, or lose your heart, or your chaste treasure open to his unmastered importunity, fear it! Ophelia! Fear it, my dear sister! The curious maid is prodigal enough if she unmask her beauty to the moon. Be wary then. Best safety lies in fear. Youth to itself rebels, though none else near.
I shall the effect of this good lesson keep as watchman to my heart. But, good my brother, do not, as some ungracious pastors do, show me the steep and thorny way to heaven, walls like a puffed and reckless libertine, himself the primrose path of dalliance treads, and recks not his own grief.
Oh, fear me not. I stay too long. Here my father comes, a double blessing is a double grace. Occasion smiles upon a second leave.
Yet here, Laertes, aboard, aboard for shame. The wind sits in the shoulder of your sail, and you are stayed for. There, my blessing with thee. And these few precepts in thy memory, see thou character. Give thy thoughts no tongue, nor any unproportioned thought his act. Be thou familiar, but by no means vulgar. Those friends thou hadst and their adoption tried, grapple them to thy soul with hoops of steel, but do not dull thy palm with entertainment with each new-hatched, unfledged comrade. Beware of entrance to a quarrel, but, being in, bear it that the opposed may beware of thee. Give every man thine ear, but few thy voice. Take each man's censure, but reserve thy judgment. Costly thy habits as thy purse can buy, but not expressed in fancy. Rich, not gaudy. For the apparel oft proclaims the man, and they in France of the best rank and station are of a most select and generous, chief in that. Neither a borrower nor a lender be, for loan oft loses both itself and friend, and borrowing dulls the edge of husbandry. This, above all, to thine own self be true, and it must follow as the night the day, thou canst not then be false to any man. Farewell. My blessing season this in thee.
Most humbly do I take my leave, my lord.
The time invites you. Go, your servants tend.
Farewell, Ophelia. Remember well what I have said to you.
'Tis in my memory locked, and you yourself shall keep the key of it.
Farewell.
What is it, Ophelia, he hath said to you?
So please you. Something touching the Lord Hamlet.
Mary, well bethought. 'Tis told me he hath very often late given private time to you, and you yourself have of your audience been most free and bounteous. If it be so, as so 'tis put on me, and that, in way of caution, I must tell you, you do not understand yourself so clearly as it behooves my daughter and your honor. What is between you? Give me up the truth.
He hath, my lord, of late made many tenders of his affection to me.
Affection, oh, you speak like a green girl unsifted in such perilous circumstance. Do you believe his tenders, as you call them?
I do not know, my lord, what I should think.
Mary! I'll teach you. Think yourself a baby, that you have taken these tenders as true pay, which are not sterling. Tender yourself more dearly, or not to crack the wind of the poor phrase running it thus, you'll tender me a fool.
My lord, he hath importuned me with love in honorable fashion.
Fashion you may call it, go to.
And hath given countenance to speech, my lord, with almost all the holy vows of heaven.
Aye, springes to catch woodcocks. Oh. I do know when the blood burns how prodigal the soul and the tongue vows. These blazes, daughter, giving more light than heat, extinct in both, even in their promises it is a-making, you must not take for fire. From this time be somewhat scanter in your maiden presence. Think so much in him that he is young, and with a larger tether may he walk than may be given you. In few, Ophelia, do not believe his vows. This is for all. And would not, in plain terms, from this time forth, have you so slandered any moment's leisure to give words or talk with the Lord Hamlet. Look to it, I charge you. Come your ways.
My lord, I shall obey. Air bites shrewdly.
It is very cold.
It is a nipping and an eager air.
What hour now?
I think that's the 12.
No, it is struck.
Indeed. I heard it not. And it drowsy in the season wherein his spirit held his wont to walk. What is this, my lord?
The king doth wake tonight. Keeps wassail and the swaggerings up its spring reels.
Is it a custom?
Aye, marry is it, but to my mind, though I am native here, and to the manner born, it is a custom more honored in the breach than the observance.
My lord, look, it comes.
Angels and ministers of grace defend us. Be thou a spirit of health or a goblin damned. Bring with thee airs from heaven or blasts from hell. Be thy intents wicked or charitable. Thou comest in such a questionable shape that I will speak to thee. I will call thee Hamlet. King? Father, royal Dano, answer me! Let me not burst in ignorance, but say why thy canonized bones, hearsed in death, have burst their cerements, why thy sepulchre, where we saw thee quietly inurned, hath oped its ponderous and marble jaws to cast thee up again. Say, why is this? Wherefore? What should we do?
It beckons you to go away with it, as if it's some impartmented desire to you alone.
Look with what courteous action it waves you to a more removed ground. Oh, but do not go with it.
No, by no means.
It will not speak. Then I will follow it.
Do not, my lord.
Why? What should be the fear I do not set my life at a pin's fee? As for my soul, what can it do to that, being a thing immortal as itself? It waves me forth again. I'll follow it.
What would tempt you towards the flood, my lord, or to the dreadful summit of the cliff, and there assume a more horrible form, and draw you into madness? Think on it.
It waves me still. Go on, I'll follow thee.
Shall not go, my lord.
Hold up your hands!
Oh, my lord, you shall not go.
My face cries out, unhand me, gentlemen! By heaven, I'll make a ghost of him that lets me. I say away! Go on! I'll follow thee!
He waxes desperate with imagination.
Let's follow. 'Tis not fit thus to obey him.
Have after. To what issue will this come?
Something's rotten in the state of Denmark.
Where wilt thou lead me? Speak! I'll go no further!
Mark me.
I will.
My hour is almost come, when I to sulphurous and tormenting flames must render up myself.
Alas, poor ghost.
Pity me not, but lend thy serious hearing to what I shall unfold.
Speak. I am bound to hear.
So art thou to revenge when thou shalt hear. I am thy father's spirit, doomed for a certain term to walk the night, and for the day confined to fast and fires, till the foul crimes done in my days of nature are burnt and purged away. List, list, oh list, if thou didst ever thy dear father love, revenge is foul and most unnatural murder.
Murder?
Murder most foul, as in the best it is, but this most foul, strange, and unnatural.
Haste me to know it, that I with wings as swift as meditation or thoughts of love may sweep to my revenge.
I find thee apt. Now, Hamlet, here, 'tis given out that sleeping in my orchard a serpent stung me. But know, thou noble youth, the serpent that did sting thy father's life now wears his crown.
Oh, my prophetic soul. My uncle?
Aye, that incestuous, that adulterate beast with witchcraft of his wit, with traitorous gifts, a wicked wit in gifts that have the power so to seduce, won to his shameful lust the will of my most seeming virtuous queen. But soft, methinks I scent the morning air, brief let me be, sleeping within my orchard, my custom always of the afternoon. Upon my secure hour that uncle stole, with juice of cursed heaven on in a vial, and in the porches of my ears did pour the leprous distillment. Thus was I, sleeping, by a brother's hand, of life, of crown, of queen, at once dispatched, cut off even in the blossoms of my sin, no reckoning made, but sent to my account with all my imperfections on my head. Oh, horrible. Oh, horrible. Most horrible. Thou hast nature in thee, bear it not. Let not the royal bed of Denmark be a couch for luxury and damned incest. But, howsoe'er thou pursue this act, taint not thy mind, nor let thy soul contrive against thy mother aught. Leave her to heaven, to those thorns that in her bosom lodge, to prick and sting her. Fare thee well at once. Adieu. Adieu, Hamlet. Remember me.
Oh, you host of heaven! Oh, earth, what else? And shall I couple hell? Oh, why? Hold my heart. You, my sinews, grow not instant old, but bear me swiftly up. Remember thee. I, poor ghost, was memory old to see in this distracted globe. Remember thee? Here from the tables of my memory, I'll wipe away all trivial fond records, all saws of books, all forms, all precious past, the youth and observation copied here. And thy commandment all alone shall live within the book and volume of my brain, unmixed with baser matter. Yes. By heaven. Oh, most pernicious woman. Oh, villain, villain, smiling, damned villain. My tables. Meet it is, I set it down, that one may smile and be a villain. At least I am sure it may be so in Denmark. So, Uncle, there you are. Now to my word. It is adieu, adieu, remember me. I have sworn it.
My lord! Lord Hamlet!
Hello! Oh! Boy! Come, bird, come!
How is it, my noble lord?
What news, my lord?
Oh, wonderful.
Good, my lord, tell it.
No, you'll reveal it.
Not I, my lord, by heaven.
Nor I, my lord.
How say you? Would heart of man once think it, but you'll be secret?
I, by heaven, my lord.
There's never a villain dwelling in all of Denmark, but he's an errant knave.
There needs no ghost come from the grave to tell us this, my lord.
Why, right. You are in the right. And so, without more circumstance at all, I hold it fit that we shake hands and part You, as your business and desire, shall point you, for every man hath business and desire, such as it is. And for mine own poor part, look you, I'll go pray.
Oh, these are but wild and whirling words, my lord.
I'm sorry they offend you. Heartily. In faith, heartily.
There's no offense, my lord.
Oh, by St. Patrick, but there is, Horatio, and much offense too, touching this vision. It is an honest ghost, that let me tell you. For your desire to know what is between us, or master it as you may. And so, my good friends, as you are friends, scholars and soldiers, give me one poor request.
What, my lord, we will.
Never make known what you have seen tonight.
My lord, we will not.
Nay, but swear it.
In faith, my lord, not I.
Nor I, my lord.
Upon my sword!
You have sworn, my lord, already.
Indeed! Upon my sword!
Swear.
Come on! You hear this fellow in the cellar age! Consent to swear!
Propose the oath, my lord!
Never to speak of this that you have seen. Swear by my sword.
Swear.
Lay your hands again upon my sword. Never to speak of this that you have heard. Swear by my sword.
Swear by this sword.
Well settled, Mull. Can swear so... And you're so fast? A worthy pioneer. Once more, good friends, remove.
Oh, day and night, but this is wondrous strength.
And therefore, as a stranger, give it welcome. There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy. But come, here as before. Never, so help you mercy, how strange or odd some'er I bear myself, as I perchance hereafter shall think me to put an antic disposition on, that you, at such time seeing me, never shall with arms encumbered thus, or with his head shake here, or by pronouncing of some doubtful phrase as, well, we know, or we could, and if we would, or if we list to speak, or there be, and they might, or such ambiguous giving out to know that you know aught of me. This not to do, so grace and mercy at your most needs help you. Swear. Rest. Rest, perturbed spirit. So, gentlemen, with all my love, I do commend me to you. And what so poor a man as Hamlet is may do to express his love and friending to you, God willing shall not lack. Let us go in together, and still your fingers on your lips, I pray you. Time is out of joint. Oh, cursed spite that ever I was born to set it right. Nay, come, let's go, together. Huh?
Oh, now, Ophelia, what's the matter?
Oh, my lord, I have been so frightened.
With what in the name of God?
My lord, as I sat sewing in my closet, Lord Hamlet, with his doublet all unbraced, no hat on his head, his stockings foul, pale as his shirt, with his knees knocking each other, and with a look so piteous in purport, as if he had been loosed out of hell to speak of horrors, he comes before me.
Mad for thy love.
My lord, I do not know, but truly I do fear it.
Well, what said he?
He took me by the wrist and held me hard. He falls to such perusal of my face as he would draw it. Long stayed he so. At last, a little shaking of mine arm, and thrice his head thus waving up and down. He raised a sigh so piteous and profound, as it did seem to shatter all his bulk and end his being. That done, he lets me go, and with his head over his shoulder turned, seemed to find his way without his eyes. For outer doors he went without their helps, and to the last spended their light on me.
Come, go with me, I will go seek the king. This is the very ecstasy of love, whose violent property fordoes itself and leads the will to desperate undertakings. What? Have you given him any hard words of late?
No, my good lord, but as you did command, I did repel his letters, and denied his access to me.
Well, this hath made him mad. I am sorry, that with better heed and judgment I had not quoted him. I feared he did but trifle and meant to wreck thee. But beshrew my jealousy. By heaven, it is as proper in our age to cast beyond ourselves in our opinion as it is common for the younger sort to lack discretion. Come, go with me. We will go seek the king. This must be known, which, being kept close, might move more grief to hide than hate to utter love.
Welcome, dear Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. Moreover, that we much did long to see you, the need we have to use you did provoke our hasty sending. Something have you heard of Hamlet's transformation, so call it, sith nor the exterior nor the inward man resembles that it was. But it should be more than his father's death that thus hath put him so much from the understanding of himself we cannot dream of. We entreat you both, that, being of so young days brought up with him, and sith so neighbored to his youth and havior, that you vouchsafe your rest here in our court for some little time, so by your companies to draw him on to pleasures, and to gather so much as from occasion you may glean, whether aught to us unknown afflicts him thus, that opened lies within our remedy.
Good gentlemen, he hath much talked to you, and sure I am 2 men that are not living to whom he more adheres. If it will please you to show us so much gentry and goodwill as to expend your time with us a while, for the supply and profit of our hope, your visitation shall be met with such thanks as fits a king's remembrance.
Both your majesties might, by the sovereign power you have of us, put your dread pleasures into more command than to entreaty. But we both obey, and here give up ourselves in the full band to lay our service freely at your feet, to be commanded.
Thanks, Rosencrantz and gentle Guildenstern.
Thanks, Guildenstern, and gentle Rosencrantz. And I beseech you instantly to visit my too-much-changed son. Go, some of you, take these gentlemen to where Hamlet is.
Heavens make our presence and our practices pleasant and helpful to him.
Yea, amen.
Thou still hast been the father of good news?
Have I, my lord? I assure my good liege that I hold my duty as I hold my soul, both to my God and to my gracious king. And I do think, or else this brain of mine hunts not the trail of policy so sure as it hath used to do, that I have found the very cause of Hamlet's lunacy.
Oh, speak of that I do long to hear. He tells me, my dear Gertrude, that he hath found the head and source of all our son's distemper.
I doubt it is no other but the main, his father's death and our hasty marriage.
Well, we shall sift him.
My liege, and madam, to expostulate on what majesty should be, on what duty is, why day is day, night, and time is time would be nothing but to waste night, day, and time. Therefore, since brevity is the soul of wit, and tediousness the limbs and outward flourishes, I will be brief. Your noble son is mad. Mad I call it, for to define true madness, what is it but to be nothing else but mad? But let that go.
More matter with less art.
Madam, I swear I use no art at all. That he is mad, 'tis true. 'Tis true, 'tis pity, and pity 'tis true. Ha, foolish figure. But farewell it, for I will use no art. Mad, let us grant him then. And now remains that we find the cause of this effect, or rather say the cause of this defect. For this effect defective comes by cause. This it remains, and the remainder thus. Perpend, I have a daughter, have while she is mine, who in her duty and obedience mark hath given me this. Now gather and surmise. To the celestial and my soul's idol, the most beautified Ophelia. Oh, that's an ill phrase. A vile phrase. Beautified is a vile phrase. You shall hear thus. In her excellent white bosom.
Came this from Hamlet to her?
Good madam, stay a while, I will be faithful. Doubt thou the stars are fire. Doubt that the sun doth move. Doubt truth to be a liar. But never doubt I love. I love thee best, oh most best, believe it, I do, thine evermore most dear lady, whilst this machine is to him, Hamlet. This in obedience hath my daughter shown me, and more above hath his solicitings, as they fell out by time, by means, and by place, all given to mine ear.
But how hath she received his love?
What do you think of me?
As a man faithful and honorable?
I would fain prove so. But what might you think when I had seen this hot love on the wing? As I proceeded, I must tell you that before my daughter told me. What might you think, or my dear Majesty your Queen here think, if I had looked upon this love with idle sight? What might you think? No, I went round to work, and my young mistress thus I did bespeak. Lord Hamlet is a prince above thy star, this must not be. And then I precepts gave her, that she should lock herself from his resort, admit no messengers, receive no tokens. Which done, she took the fruits of my advice, and he, repulse, a short tale to make, fell into a sadness. Thence into a fast. Thence into a watch. Thence into a weakness. Thence into a lightness. And by this declension into the madness wherein he now reigns. And all we mourn for.
Do you think 'tis this?
It may well be. Very likely.
Hath there been such a time, I'd fain know that I had positively said 'tis so when it had proved otherwise.
Not that I know.
Take this from this, if this be otherwise. If circumstances lead me, I will find where truth is hid, though it were hid, indeed, within the center.
How may we try it further?
You know, he sometimes walks 4 hours together here in the lobby.
So he does indeed.
At such a time, I'll loose my daughter to him. Be you and I behind the arras then. Mark the encounter. If he love her not, or be not from his reason fallen thereon, let me be no assistant to a state, but keep a farm in Carter's.
We will try it.
Sadly, the poor wretch comes reading.
Away, I beseech you both. Away. I'll board him presently. Oh, give me leave. How does my good Lord Hamlet?
Well, God a mercy.
Do you know me, my lord?
Excellent. Well, you are a fishmonger.
Not I, my lord.
Then I wonder you were so honest a man.
I honest, my lord.
Aye, sir. For to be honest, as this world goes, is to be one man picked out of 10,000.
That's very true, my lord.
For if the sun breed maggots in a dead dog, being a god-kissing carrion, have you a daughter?
I have, my lord.
Let her not walk too much in the sun, for conception is a blessing, but not as your daughter may conceive. Friend, look to it.
What say you by this? Still harping on my daughter, yet he knew me not at first. He said I was a fishmonger. He is far gone, far gone. And truly in my youth I suffered much extremity for love, very near this. I'll talk to him again. What is it you read, my lord?
Words. Words. Words!
What's the matter, my lord?
Between who?
I mean the matter that you read, my lord.
Slander, sir. For the satirical rogue says here that old men have gray beards, that their faces are wrinkled, their eyes purging thick amber and plum tree gum, that they have a plentiful lack of wit, together with most weak hams, all which, sir, I most powerfully and potently believe. I hold it not honesty to have it thus set down. For yourself should be as old as I am. If like a crab you could go backwards.
So must be madness, there's a method in it. Will you walk out of the air, my lord?
Into my grave?
Indeed, that is out of the air. How pregnant sometimes his replies are. A happiness which often madness hits upon, which reason and sanity could not so prosperously be delivered of. I will leave him, and subtly contrive the meeting between him and my daughter. My honorable lord, I will most humbly take my leave of you.
You cannot, sir, take anything from me which I will more willingly part with all, except my life, except my life, except my
Fare you
life.
well, my lord.
These tedious old fools.
My honored lord! Oh, my most
the soles of her shoes?
Neither, my lord.
Then you live about her waist, or in the middle of her favors.
Her private's we.
Oh, in the secret parts of fortune? Most true, she is a strumpet. But what is the news?
Oh, none, my lord, but that the world's grown honest.
Then is doomsday near? But your news is not true. Let me question more in particular. What have you, my good friends, deserved at the hands of fortune that she sends you to prison hither?
Prison, my lord?
Denmark's a prison.
Then is the world one.
A goodly one, in which there are many confines, wards, and dungeons. Denmark being one of the worst.
We think not so, my lord.
Why then 'tis none to you, for there is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. To me, it is a prison.
Why then, your ambition makes it one. 'Tis too narrow for your mind.
Oh God, I could be bounded in a nutshell and count myself a king of infinite space, were it not that I have bad dreams.
Which dreams indeed are ambition, for the very substance of the ambitious is but a shadow of a dream.
A dream itself is but a shadow.
Truly, and I hold ambition of so light an area quality that it is but a shadow's shadow.
Then are our beggars' bodies and our monarchs and outstretched heroes the beggars' shadows. Shall we to court for by my bay? I cannot reason.
We'll wait upon you.
No such matter. I'll not sort you with the rest of my servants. For to speak to you as an honest man, I am most dreadfully attended. But in the beaten way of friendship, what make you at Elsinore?
To visit you, my lord, no other occasion.
Beggar that I am even poor in thanks. But I thank you, and sure, my thanks are too dear a halfpenny. Were you not sent for? Is it your own inclining? Is it free visitation? Come, deal justly with me. Come, nay, speak.
What should we say, my lord?
Why, anything but to the purpose. You were sent for, and there is a kind of confession in your looks which your modesties have not craft enough to color. I know the good king and queen have sent for you.
To what end, my lord?
That you must tell me. Be even and direct with me whether you were sent for or no.
What say you?
Nay, I even have an eye on you. If you love me, hold not off.
My lord, we were sent for.
I will tell you why. So shall my anticipation prevent your discovery and your secrecy to the king and queen moult no feather. I have of late, but wherefore I know not, us all my mirth, foregone all custom of exercise, and it goes so heavily with my disposition that this goodly frame, the earth, seems to me nothing but a sterile promontory. This most excellent canopy, why, it appears to me nothing but a foul and pestilent congregation of vapors. What a piece of work is a man. How noble in reason, how infinite in faculties, in form and movement, how express and admirable, in action, how like an angel in apprehension, how like a god. The beauty of the world, the paragon of animals. And yet to me, what is this quintessence of dust? Man delights not me. No, nor woman neither, though by your smiling you seem to say so.
Oh, my lord, there was no such stuff in my thoughts.
Why did you laugh then, when I said man delights not me?
Oh, to think, my lord, if you delight not in man, what Lenten entertainment the players shall receive from you. We caught them on the way, and hither they are come to offer you service.
He that plays the king shall be welcome. His majesty shall have tribute of me. The adventurous knight shall use his foil and target. What players are they?
Even those you were wont to take delight in, the tragedians of the city.
Is it possible?
Players!
Gentlemen, You are welcome to Elsinore. Your hands, let me comply with you in this garb, lest my extent to the players, which I tell you must show fairly outward, appear more like entertainment than yours. You are welcome. But my uncle father and aunt mother are deceived.
And what, my lord?
I am but mad north-northwest. When the wind is southerly, I know a hawk from a handsaw.
Well be with you, gentlemen.
Hark you, Guildenstern, and you too. At each ear a hearer. That great baby you see there is not yet out of his swaddling clouds.
Haply he's second time come to them, for they say an old man's twice a child.
I will prophesy. He comes to tell us of the players. Mark it.
My lord, I have news to tell
you. When Rocius was an actor in Rome.
The actors are come hither, my lord.
Buzz.
Upon mine honor.
And came each actor on his ass.
The best actors in the world, either for tragedy, comedy, history, pastoral comical, historical pastoral, tragical historical, tragical comical historical pastoral, scene individable, or poem unlimited. Seneca cannot be too heavy, nor Plautus too light, for the law of writ and the liberty, these are the only men.
Old Jephthah, judge of Israel, what a treasure hadst thou?
What a treasure had he, my lord?
Why, one fair daughter, and no more, the which he loved passing well.
Still on my daughter.
Am I not in the right, old Jephthah?
If you call me Jephthah, my lord, I do have a daughter that I love passing well.
Nay, that follows not.
What follows then, my lord?
Why, as by lot God wot, and then you know, it came to pass as like it was. The first row of this pious chanson will show you more. But look! Rosencrantz, you are welcome, masters. Welcome all. I am glad to see you. Oh, my old friend, thy face is veiling since I saw thee last. Comest thou to peer me in Denmark? My young lady and my mistress, but our lady. Your ladyship is nearer to heaven than when I saw you last. But come, give us a taste of your quality, a passionate speech.
What speech, my lord?
I heard thee speak me a speech once. 'Twas Aeneas' tale to Dido, thereabout where he speaks of the slaughter of Priam. If it live in your memory, begin with this line. Let me see. Now is he total ghouls, horridly tricked with blood of mothers, fathers, daughters, sons, quite o'ersized with coagulate gore, with eyes like carbuncles. The hellish Pyrrhus, old grandsire Priam seeks. So proceed you.
For God, my lord, well spoken, with good accent and good discretion.
Anon. He finds him. Striking too short at Greeks. His antique sword, rebellious to his arm, lies where it falls, repugnant to command. Unequal matched. Pyrrhus at Priam drives, enraged, strikes wide, but with the whiff and wind of his fell sword, the unnerved father falls. Then, senseless Ilium, seeming to feel this blow, with flaming top, stoops to his base, and with a hideous crash, takes prisoner Pyrrhus's ear. For lo, his sword, which was declining on the milky head of Reverend Priam, seems in the air to stick. So as a painted tyrant Pyrrhus stood, and like a neutral to his will and matter, did nothing. But, as we often see against some storm, a silence in the heavens. So, after Pyrrhus's pause, aroused vengeance sets him new a work. And never did the Cyclops' hammers fall on Mars's armor, forged for proof etern, with less remorse than Pyrrhus's bleeding sword now falls on Priam.
Say on to Hecuba.
But seen the mobile queen run barefoot up and down, threatening the flames with piss and rheum. A clout upon that head where late the diadem stood, and for a robe about her lank and all o'er teemed loins, a blanket in the alarm of fear caught up. Who this had seen, with tongue in venom steeped, 'gainst fortune's state would treason have pronounced. But if the gods themselves did see her then, why does she so Pyrrhus make malicious sport, in mincing with his sword her husband's limbs? The instant burst of clamor that she made, unless things mortal move them not at all, would have made milked the burning eyes of heaven and passion in the gods.
Look, whether he has not turned its color and has tears in his eyes, pray you no more.
'Tis well. I'll have thee speak the rest soon. Good my lord, will you see these players well bestowed? Dost thou here let them be well used? For they are the abstract and the brief chronicle of the time. In your death you were better have a bad epitaph than their ill report whiles you live.
My lord, I will use them according to their desert.
God's body, kinsman, much better. Use every man after his own desert, and who shall escape whipping? Use them after your own honor and dignity. The less they deserve, the more merit is in your bounty. Take them in.
Come, sirs.
Follow this lord. We'll have a play tomorrow. Dost thou hear me, old friend? Can you play the murder of Gonzago?
Aye, my lord.
We'll have it tomorrow night. You could, for a need, study a speech of some 12 or 16 lines, which I will set down and insert in it. Could you not?
Aye, my lord.
Very well. Follow this lord, and look you, mock him not. My good friends, I will leave you till night. You are welcome to Elsinore.
Good, my lord.
I am so glad to be with you. Now I am alone. What a rogue and peasant slave am I? Is it not monstrous that this player here, but in fiction, in a dream of passion, could force his soul so to his own conceit, that from her working all the visage runned, tears in his eyes, distraction in his aspect, a broken voice, and his whole function suiting with forms to his conceit, and all for nothing. For Hecuba? What's Hecuba to him, or he to her, that he should weep for her? What would he do? Had he the motive and cue for passion that I have? Why, he'd drown the stage with tears, and cleave the general ear with horrid speech, make mad the guilty, and appall the free, confound the ignorant, and amaze indeed the very faculties of eyes and ears. I, a dull and muddy-mettled rascal, peak like Jonadrunes, unpregnant of my cause, and can say nothing, no, not for a king upon whose property and most dear life a damned defeat was made. Am I a coward? Who calls me villain, breaks my paint across, plucks out my beard and blows it in my face, tweaks me on the nose, gives me the lie in the throat as deep as to the lungs? Who does me this, huh? Swoons, I should take it, for it cannot be, but I am pigeon-livered and lack gall to make oppression bitter. For ere this, I should have founded all the region kites with this slave's awful. Oh, bloody body villain, remorseless, lecherous, treacherous, kindless villain. Oh, vengeance? Why, what an ass am I? It is most brave that I, the son of a dear father murdered, prompted to my revenge by heaven and hell, must like a whore unpack my heart with words and fall a cursing like a very drab. By creature sitting out of play, have by the very cunning of the scene been struck so to the soul, that presently they have proclaimed their malefactions. For murder, though it have no voice, will speak with most miraculous organ. I will have these players play something like the murder of my father before mine uncle. I'll observe his looks. I'll tempt him to the quick. If he but blench, I know my course. This spirit I have seen may be the devil, and the devil hath power to assume a pleasing shape. Yea, and perhaps out of my weakness and my melancholy, for he is very potent in such spirits, abuses me to damn me. I'll have grounds more relative than this. The play's the thing wherein I'll catch the conscience of the king.
And can you by no drift of circumstance get from him why he puts on this confusion, grating so harshly all his days of quiet with turbulent and dangerous lunacy?
He does confess he feels himself distracted, but from what cause he will by no means speak. Nor do we find him forward to be sounded, but with a crafty madness keeps himself aloof when we would bring him on to some confession of his true state.
Did he receive you well?
Most like a gentleman, but with much forcing of his disposition. Negative question, but of our demands most free in his reply.
Did you assay him to any pastime?
Madam, it so fell out that certain players we o'erwrought on the way. Of these we told him, and in him did seem a kind of joy to hear it. They are about the court, and as I think have already in order to play this night before him.
'Tis most true, and he beseeched me to entreat your majesties to hear and see the matter.
With all my heart, and it doth much content me to hear him thus inclined. Good gentlemen, give him a further edge, and drive his purpose on to these delights.
We shall, my lord.
Sweet Gertrude, leave us too, for we have closely sent for Hamlet hither, that he, as 'twere by accident, may here affront Ophelia. Her father and myself, lawful espials, will so bestow ourselves, that seeing unseen, we may of their encounter frankly judge, and gather by him as he is behaved, if it be the affliction of his love or no, that thus he suffers for.
I shall obey you. And for your part, Ophelia, I do wish your good beauties be the happy cause of Hamlet's wildness. So shall I hope that your virtues will bring him to his wonted way again, to both your honors.
Madam, I wish it may.
Ophelia, walk you here. Gracious, so please you, we will bestow ourselves. Read on this book, that show of such an exercise may color your loneliness. We are oft to blame in this. 'Tis too much proved that with devotion's visage and pious action we do sugar o'er the devil himself.
Oh, 'tis too true. How smart a lash that speech doth give my conscience. The harlot's cheek, beautied with the plastering art, is not more ugly to the thing that helps it than is my deed to my most painted word. Oh, heavy burden.
I hear him coming. Let's withdraw, my lord.
To be or not to be? That is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles and by opposing end them. To die, to sleep, no more. And by sleep to say we end the heartache and the thousand natural shocks that flesh is heir to. 'Tis a consummation devoutly to be wished. To die, to sleep. To sleep, perchance to dream. Why, there's the rub. For in that sleep of death, what dreams may come when we have shuffled off this mortal coil must give us pause. There's the respect that makes calamity of so long a life. For who would bear the whips and scorns of time, the oppressor's wrong, the proud man's contumely, the pangs of despised love, the law's delay, the insolence of office, and spurns the patient merit of unworthy takes, when he himself might his quietus make with a bare bodkin? who would fardels bear to grunt and sweat under a weary life but for the dread of something after death? The undiscovered country from whose bourne no traveler returns puzzles the will and makes us rather bear those ills we have than fly to those we know not of. Thus does conscience make cowards of us all. The native hue of resolution is sicklied o'er with a pale cast of thought, and enterprises of great pith and moment with this regard their currents turn awry and lose the name of action. Soft you now. Fair Ophelia! Nymph, thy orisons be all my sins remembered. Good my lord, how does your honor for this many a day? I humbly thank you. Well. My lord, I have remembrances of yours that I've longed to redeliver. I pray you now receive them. No, I never gave you aught. My honored lord, you know right well you did. And with them, words of so sweet breath composed as made the things more rich. Their perfumes lost, take these again. For to the noble mind, rich gifts wax poor when givers prove unkind. There, my lord. Are you honest? My lord? Are you fair? What means your lordship? Then if you be honest and fair, your honesty should admit no discourse to your beauty. Good beauty! My lord, have better commerce than with honesty. Aye, truly. For the power of beauty will sooner transform honesty from what it is to a bawd than the force of honesty can translate beauty to his likeness. This was sometime a paradox, but now the time gives it proof. I did love you once. Indeed. My lord, you made me believe so. You should not have believed me. For virtue cannot so inoculate our old stock, but we shall relish of it. I loved you not. I was the more deceived. Get thee to a nunnery. Why wouldst thou be a breeder of sinners? I am myself indifferent, honest, but yet I could accuse me of such things that it were better my mother had not borne me. I am very proud, revengeful, ambitious with more offenses at my back than I have thoughts to put them in, imagination to give them shape, or time to act them in. What should such fellows as I do crawling between earth and heaven? We are errant men, all. Believe none of us. Go thy ways to a nunnery. Where is your father? At home, my lord. Let the doors be locked upon him, that he may play the fool nowhere but in his own house. Farewell. Oh, help him, you sweet heavens, if thou dost marry. I give thee this play for thy dowry. Be thou as chaste as ice, as pure as snow. Thou shalt not escape calumny. Get thee to a nunnery. Farewell. If thou wilt needs marry, marry a fool, for wise men know well enough what monsters you make of them. Go thy ways to a nunnery and quickly kill. Oh, help him, you go! Oh, no more on't. It hath made me mad. I say we shall have no more marriages. Those that are married already, all but one shall live. The rest shall keep as they are. Get thee to a nunnery, go! Oh, what ignoble mind is here o'erthrown? The courtiers, soldiers, scholars, eye, tongue, sword, the expectancy and rose of the fair state, the glass of fashion, the mold of form, the observed of all observers, quite down. And I, of ladies most harsh. That unmatched form and feature of blown youth blasted with ecstasy. Oh, woe is me. To have seen what I have seen, see what I see.
Love, his affections do not that way tend. Nor what he spake, though it lacked form a little, was not like madness. There is something in his soul, o'er which his melancholy sits on brood. And I do doubt the hatch in the disclose will be some danger, which for to prevent I have in quick determination thus set it down. He shall, with speed, to England for the demand of our neglected tribute. Haply the seas and countries different with variable objects will expel this something settled matter in his heart.
It shall do well, but yet I do believe that the origin and commencement of his grief sprung from neglected love. How now, Ophelia? You need not tell us what the Lord Hamlet said. We heard it all. My lord, do as you please. But if you hold it fit after the play, have his queen mother all alone entreat him to show his grief. Let her be round with him. And all be placed, so please you, in the ear of all their conference. If she find him not, then to England send him, or confine him where your wisdom best shall think.
It shall be so. Madness in great ones must not unwatched go.
Speak the speech, I pray you, as I pronounced you to you, tricking on the tongue. But if you mouth it as some of your players might, I had as lief the tongue prior spoke my lines. Nor do not saw the air with your hand thus, but use all gently, for in the torrent, the tempest, and as I may say, the whirlwind of passion, it must acquire and beget a temperance that will give it smoothness.
I warrant, your honor.
Be not too tame neither, but let your own discretion be your tutor. Suit the action to the word to the action, with a special observance, or step not the modesty of nature, for anything so overdone is from the purpose of playing, whose end both in the first and now is and was, as 'twere to hold the mirror up to nature. Show virtue her feature, scorn her image, the very age and body of time is form and pressure. Go, make you ready. Good my lord, I will this king hear this piece of work.
And the queen too, and that presently.
Bid them make haste. Will you two help to hasten them?
We will, my lord.
What help? Horatio.
Here, sweet lord, at your service.
Horatio, thou art e'en as just a man as e'er my conversation coped withal.
Oh, good my lord.
Nay, do not think I flatter, for what advancement may I hope from thee that no revenue hath but thy own good spirits to feed and clothe thee? Give me a man that is not passion's slave, and I shall wear him in the core of my heart. Aye, in my heart of heart as I do thee. But something too much of this. There is a play tonight before the king. When speech of it comes very near the circumstance which I have told thee of my father's death, I pray thee, when thou seest this act afoot, even with the very comment of thy soul, observe mine uncle. If his occulted guilt do not itself unkennel in one speech, then it is a damned ghost that we have seen, and my imaginations are as foul as Vulcan's stithy. Give him heedful note, and I, mine eyes, will rivet to his face, and after we shall both our judgments join in censure of his seeming.
Well, my lord, if he still ought the whilst the play is playing and scape detecting, I will pay the theft.
They are coming to the play. I must be idle. Get thee a place.
How fares our cousin Hamlet?
Excellent. Of the chameleon's dish I eat, the air promised crammed. You cannot be capon so.
I have nothing with this answer, Hamlet. These words are not mine.
No, nor mine now. Be the players ready?
I, my lord, this day upon your patience.
Come hither, Hamlet, sit by me.
No, good madam. Here's metal more attractive.
Oh, do you mark that?
Lady, shall I lie in your lap?
No, my lord.
I mean my head upon your lap.
I, my lord,
Did you think I meant country matters?
I think nothing, my lord.
That's a fair thought. to lie between maids' legs.
What is, my lord?
Nothing.
You are married, my lord.
Who, I?
I, my lord.
God, you're only jig maker. What should a man do but be merry? Look you, how cheerfully my mother looks. And my father died within these 2 hours.
Nay, 'tis twice 2 months. Lord,
So long? Hey, let the devil wear black. I'll have a suit of sables. Oh, heavens! Dead 2 months and not forgotten. There's hope. A great man's memory may outlive his life by half a year.
For us, and for our tragedy, here stooping to your clemency, we beg your hearing patiently.
Is this a prologue or the posy of a reign?
tis brief, my lord.
As woman's luck? Huh.
Full 30 times hath Phoebus' cart gone round Neptune's salt wash and Tellus' orbit ground. And 30 dozen moons with borrowed sheen about the world have times 12 30s been, since love our hearts and Hymen did our hands unite commutual in most sacred bands.
So many journeys may the sun and moon make us again count over ere love be done. But woe is me, you are so sick of late, so far from cheer and from your former state. Now what my love is, proof hath made you know, and as my love is sized, my fear is so.
Faith, I must leave thee, love, and shortly too. My operant powers their functions leave to do. Thou shalt live in this fair world behind, honored, beloved, and happily one as kind. For husband shalt thou.
Confound the rest! Such love must needs be treason in my breast. And second husband, let me be accursed. None were the second, but who killed the first.
That's wormwood.
The instances that second marriage move are base respects of thrift, but none of love. A second time I killed my husband dead, when second husband kisses me in bed.
I do believe you think what now you speak, but what we do determine oft we break. But to ourselves in passion we propose the passion ending, doth the purpose lose. So think thou wilt no second husband wed, but die thy thoughts when thy first lord is dead.
Nor earth to make you food, nor heaven light, sport and repose lock for me day and night, both here and hence, pursue me lasting strife, if once a widow, ever I be a wife.
She should break it now.
'Tis deeply sworn. Sweet, leave me here a while, my spirits grow dull, and fain I would beguile the tedious day with sleep.
Sleep rock thy brain, and never come mischance between us twain.
How likes you the play, madam?
The lady protests too much, methinks.
Oh, but she'll keep her word.
Have you heard the argument? Is there no offense in it?
No! No! They but jest, poison in jest. No offense in the world.
What do you call the play?
The mousetrap, Mary, topically. The play is the very image of a murder done in Vienna. Gonzago, the Duke, his wife, Baptista, you shall see anon. 'Tis a very naive-ish piece of work. This is one Lucianus, nephew to the king.
You're as good as a chorus, my lord.
I could interpret between you and your love if I could but see the puppets dallying.
You are keen, my lord, you are keen.
It will cost you a groaning to take my job.
Still better and worse.
So must you take your husband? Begin, murderer. Pox! Leave thy damnable faces! Come, the croaking raven, the fellow for revenge.
Thoughts, black, hands, act, drugs, fit and time agreeing, confederate season, else no creature see. Thou mixture rank of midnight weeds collected, with Hecate's band thrice blasted, thrice infected. thy natural magic and dire property, on wholesome life exert immediately.
He poisons him in the garden for his estate. The story is extant and written choice Italian. You shall see anon how the murderer gets the love of Gonzago's wife.
The king rises.
What? Frightened with false fire?
How fares my lord?
Give o'er the play!
Away!
Why, let the stricken deer go eat the hard ungalled play. For some must watch while others sleep, so let the world away. Oh, good Horatio, I'll take the ghost for £1,000. Didst perceive?
Very well, my lord.
Upon the talk of poisoning.
I did very well note him.
Come, some music. Come, the recorders. For if the king like not the comedy, but like he like it not. Ferdy-la-la. Come, some music.
Could my lord vouchsafe me a word with you?
Sir, a whole history?
The king, sir.
Sir, what of him?
Is in his retirement marvelous distemper.
With drink, sir.
No, my lord, rather with choler.
Your wisdom should show itself more richer to signify this to his doctor. For me to put him to his purgation would perhaps plunge him into far more choler.
Could my lord put your discourse into some frame and start not so loudly for my affair?
I am tame, sir. Pronounce.
The queen, your mother, in most great affliction of spirit, hath sent me to you.
You are welcome.
Nay, good my lord, his courtesy is not of the right breed. If it shall please you to make me a wholesome answer, I will do your mother's commandment. If not, your pardon and my return shall be the end of my business.
Sir, I cannot
What, sir?
make you a wholesome answer. My wit's diseased, but such an answer as I can give you shall command, or rather, as you say, my mother, but therefore no more.
Your behavior hath struck her into amazement and admiration.
Oh, wonderful son that can so astonish a mother. But is there no sequel at the heels of this mother's admiration in part?
She desires to speak with you in her closet ere you go to bed.
We shall obey, were she 10 times our mother. Have you any further trade with us?
My lord, you once did love me.
So I do still. By these pickers and stealers.
Good my lord, what is the cause of your distemper? You do surely bar the door against your own liberty if you deny your griefs to your friends.
Sir, I lack advancement.
How can that be when you have the voice of the king himself for your succession in Denmark?
Aye, sir. But while the grass grows, the proverb is something musty with me. Oh, the recorders. Let me see one. To withdraw with you. Why do you go about to recover the wind of me as if you would drive me into a toil?
Oh, my lord, if my duty be too bold, my love is too unmannerly.
I do not well understand that. Will you play upon this pipe?
My lord, I cannot.
I pray you.
Believe me, I cannot.
I do beseech you.
I know that touch of it, my lord.
Why, look you now. How unworthy a thing you make of me. You would play upon me. You would seem to know my stops. You would pluck out the heart of my mystery. You would sound me from the lowest note to the top of my compass, and there is much music. Excellent voice in this little organ, yet cannot you make it speak? What? Do you think I am easier to be played upon than this pipe? Call me what instrument you will. Though you can fret me, you cannot play upon me. God bless you, sir.
My lord, the queen would speak with you, and presently.
Do you see yonder cloud that is almost in shape of a camel?
By the mass, and 'tis like a camel indeed.
Methinks it is like a weasel.
It is backed like a weasel,
Or like a whale.
very like a whale.
Tell my mother I will come by and by. They flew to the top of my bent. I shall come by and by.
I will say so.
By and by is easily said. Leave me friends. It's now the very witching time of night, when churchyards yawn and hell itself breathes contention to this world. Now might I drink hot blood and do such bitter business as the day would quake to look on. But soft. Now to my mother. O heart, it was not thy nature. Let never the soul of Nero enter this firm bosom. Let me be cruel, not unnatural. I will speak daggers to her, but use none. My tongue and soul in this be hypocrites. How in my words, so ere she be shent, to give them seals, never my soul consent.
Hello, everybody. We're going to take a 10-minute intermission. We'll be back in 10. Thanks. Thank you.
That's a problem. I know. Seriously, forgot, and then I got it from my throat. Oh, yeah. But it was lovely out there, so. It is lovely out. It's not as cold as right. Are you going to yoga tomorrow? Yes. I am too. Cool. I will see you there. This is awesome. It would be nice.
Well, no, like just like today, I woke up. Well, yesterday I was like feeling a little off, and then yeah, today I'm just really stuffed up. Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was just allergies at first. Yeah, you're sitting here, I'm getting more and more congested.
I'm You don't like theater. I know. It's so funny that you actually forgot.
Actually, yeah, I remember actually last time we went to a play in Polonius. It was a terrible play, but I got in there and we were
No, I
like
got the same way.
and then I realized that I could see into their eyes and I was like, oh yeah, I hate that. I need like a student separate. Consider your money or something like that.
Okay, I mean, except like, you know, like, stuff like I just don't.
Well, that's what it is. I was striking me.
Are you weird?
Yeah, I know. There's that. Yeah, well, just a little bit.
It's really hard to
It's
hear
really
back
hard to hear.
It's really hard to hear back there.
I bet it's
So like,
yeah, you should stay somewhere.
if you can come like kind of here, that's what I would do.
Do it right here.
That's what I would do.
Maybe they have trees right here.
But that's stupid, they're right side.
Yeah, but they could be a little further off.
Yeah.
I weren't thinking when they, they weren't thinking when they started going.
It's shaming for people performing. I know,
Yeah, that's fine. You want to stay and make it?
No, I'm gonna go back. I practiced for like 5 hours or something. Yeah, it was fantastic. Like I feel like I'm gonna do more. So no.
Yes. I get you. Tomorrow morning, you should take it early. It's more fun for you.
I know.
Worried about the second week of class.
Alright.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. After months of no motivation, I'm ready to go to yoga. Okay, yeah. Alright. Are you gonna go to yoga today? I don't know. Are you a lackluster human being?
I'm just, you should look at my kitchen.
Oh, my
It's a very telling story. Of course,
No, I went to that, Bill's barber. It's like this old dude, he's semi-retired. He only works like...
There's no sign or anything.
Oh,
It's just really
But they
fake
have the
barber
barber
school.
pole outside.
Yeah, it's like on
Really cool.
if I wanted it.
Yeah, something.
Took him like, 10 minutes or something.
And it looks sort of weird again too. I don't know. This whole series of like people trying to give you like Botox and strange things. I don't know what they
Yeah,
do.
when I got home, it was like,
I don't know.
I like Botox. You could do that for a while.
Oh. Okay, you wanna go?
Oh, we're just at the journal.
yeah, maybe
Oh shit, it's a play.
Yeah, well, that's very loud. Actually, we were talking about
Nothing bad happened.
Wait, were you looking at it? We were just gonna go, but...
Yeah, I was
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah. Let's go. I need more food anyway. Okay, bye. See you guys.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's the thing got their I mean, that's it saves it. No, unfortunately, I think that's better. Oh, you made it. Yeah. No, yeah, sometimes yesterday I was kind of flat.
We will resume in about a minute, so if you guys want to just sort of get settled and get ready. Thank you.
Oh, and I thought I was just getting like
Your commission will forthwith dispatch, and he shall to England along with you. The terms of our estate may not endure hazard so dangerous as to hourly grow at his lunacy.
We will ourselves provide. Most holy and religious fear it is to keep those many, many bodies safe that live and feed upon your majesty. The single and peculiar life is bound with all the strength and armor of the mind to keep itself from annoyance. But much more the spirit upon whose will depend and rest the lives of many. The cease of majesty dies not alone, but with a general groan.
Arm you, I pray you, for this speedy voyage, for we will fetters put upon this fear which now goes too free-footed.
We will haste us.
My lord, he's going to his mother's closet. Behind the arras I'll convey myself to hear the process, and warrant she'll tax him home. And as you said, and wisely was it said, 'tis meet that some more audience than a mother, since nature makes them partial, should o'erhear the speech of vantage. Fare you well, my liege. I'll call upon you ere you go to bed and tell you what I know.
Thanks, dear my lord. Oh, my offense is rank. It smells to heaven. It hath the primal eldest curse upon it. Brother's murder. Pray can I not? Though inclination be as sharp as will, my stronger guilt defeats my strong intent. And like a man to double business bound, I stand in pause where I should first begin and both neglect. What if this cursed hand were thicker than itself with brother's blood? Is there not rain enough in the sweet heavens to wash it white as snow? There too serves mercy but to confront the visage of offense. And what's in prayer? This twofold force, to be forestalled ere we come to fall, or pardoned, being down. Then I'll look up, my fault is past. But oh, what form of prayer can serve my turn? Forgive me my foul murder? That cannot be, since I'm still possessed of those effects for which I did the murder. My crown, mine own ambition, and my queen. May one be pardoned and retain the offense? In the corrupted currents of this world, offense's gilded hand may shove by justice, and oft 'tis seen the wicked prize itself buys out the law. But 'tis not so above. There is no shuffling. There the action lies in his true nature. And we ourselves compelled even to the teeth and forehead of our faults to give in evidence. What then? What rests? Try what repentance can. What can it not? Yet what can it when one cannot repent? Oh, wretched state! Oh, bosom black as death! O limed soul, that struggling to be at free art more engaged. Help, angels. Make essay. Bow, stubborn knees. And heart, with strings of steel, be soft as sinews of a newborn babe. All may be well.
Now might I do it, Pat? Now he's praying, and now I'll do it, and so he goes to him, and so I am revenged. That would be scanned. If villain kills my father, and for that I, his sole son, do this same murder, sent to heaven? Well, this is higher in salary, not revenge. He took my father full of bread with all his crimes blood blown, and how his audit stands, who knows? Save heaven, but in our circumstance and course of thought, it is heavy with him. And am I then revenged, to take him in the purging of his soul when he is fit and seasoned for his passage? No. I'm sorry. And know thou, more horrid hint, when he is drunk asleep, or in his rage, or in the incestuous pleasure of his bed, at gaming or swearing, or about some act that hath no relish of salvation in it, then trip him, that his heels may kick at heaven, and that his soul may be as damned and black as hell whereto it goes. My mother stays. This visit but prolongs thy sickly days.
My words fly up. My thoughts remain below. Words without thoughts never to heaven go.
To him. Tell him that his pranks have been too broad to bear with, and that your grace has screened and stood between much heat and him. Oscance be even here. Pray you, be rounded with him.
I'll warrant you, fear me not. Withdraw, I hear him coming.
Now, mother, what's the matter?
Hamlet, thou hast thy father much offended.
Mother, you have my father much offended.
Come, you answer with an idle
Go,
tongue.
go! You question with a wicked tongue.
Why how now, Hamlet?
What's the matter now?
Have you forgot me?
No. By the rood, not so. You are the queen, your husband's brother's wife, and would it were not so, you are my mother.
Nay then, I'll set to you those that can speak.
Come, and sit you down. You will not budge. Come back till I set you up a glass where you may see the end.
What? That will not murder me. Help! Help!
Come now.
Help!
A rat?
Help!
Oh me, what hast thou done?
Nay, I know not. Is it the king?
Oh, what a rash and bloody deed is this.
A bloody deed? Almost as bad, good mother, as kill a king and marry with his brother.
As kill a king?
Aye, madam, 'twas my word. Thou wretched, rash, intruding fool. Farewell. I take thee for thy better. Take thy fortune. Thou find'st to be too busy is some danger. Peace, the wringing of your hands! Sit you down, and I shall wring your heart, for so I shall, if it be made of penetrable stuff, if damned custom have not brassed it so that it is proof and bulwark against sense.
What have I done that thou darest wag thy tongue and noise so rude against
Such
me?
an act that blurs the grace and blush of modesty, calls virtue hypocrite, takes the rose from a fair forehead of an innocent himself, and I, like Mars, to threaten and command a station like the herald Mercury, new lighted on a heaven-kissing hill. A combination in form, indeed, where every god did seem to set his seal to give this world assurance of a man. This was your husband! Look you now! What follows? Here is your husband, like a mildewed ear, blasting his wholesome brother. Have you eyes? Could you from this fair mountain leave to feed and batten on this moor? Have you eyes? You cannot call it love, for at your age the heyday and the blood is tame. It is humble and waits for judgment, and what judgment would step from this to this? Oh, shame! Where is thy blush?
These words like daggers enter in mine ears, no more to them.
A murderer and a villain, a slave that is not 20th part the tithe of your preceding lord, a vice of kings, a cutpurse of the empire and rule, that from a shelf the precious diadem stole and put it in his pocket.
No more!
A king of shreds and patches. Save me and hover o'er me with your wings, you heavenly guards. What would your gracious figure?
Oh, Lassie's mad.
Do not you come here, tardy son to chide, who lapsed in time, in passion. Let's go by the important acting of your dread commando. Say.
Do not forget, this visitation is but to whet thy almost blunted purpose. But look, amazement on thy mother sits. Oh, step between her and her fighting soul. Conceit in weakest bodies, strongest works. Speak to her, Hamlet.
How is it with you, lady?
Lass, how is with you? But you do bend your eye on vacancy, and with the incorporeal air do hold discourse. Oh, gentle son, whereon do you look?
On him! On him! Look at how pale he glares! His cause and firm conjoined preaching to stones to make them capable. Do not look upon me, lest with this piteous act you convert my stern effects. Then would I have to do a one true color, tears perchance for blood.
To whom do you speak, then?
Do you see nothing there?
Nothing at all. Yet all that is I see.
Nor did you nothing hear?
Nothing but ourselves.
Look you, how pale he goes!
This is the very coinage of your brain. This bodiless creation of ecstasy is very cunning.
Ecstasy? My heart is yours that temperately keep time and makes us helpful music. It is not madness that I have uttered. Bring me to the test, and I the manners will reword, which madness would gamble from. Confess yourself to heaven. Repent what's past. Avoid what is to come, and do not spread the compost on the weeds to make them rancor. Forgive me this, my virtue. For in the pursuit of these fatness times, virtue itself of vice must pardon beg. They curb and woo for leave to do him good.
Oh, Hamlet, thou hast cleft my heart in twain.
Oh, throw away the worser part of it, and live the better with the other half. Good night. But do not go to mine uncle's bed tonight. Assume a virtue, refrain tonight, and that shall lend a kind of easiness to the next abstinence, the next more easy. For use almost can change the stamp of nature, and either shame the devil or throw him out with wondrous potency. Once again, good night. And when you are desirous to be blessed, I'll blessing beg of you. For the same Lord I do repent. But heaven hath it pleased to punish me with this and this with me, that I must be their scourge and minister. I will bestow him and answer well the death I gave him. So again, good night. I must be cruel, only to be kind. Thus bad begins, and worse remains behind. But one word more, good lady.
What shall I do?
Not this, by no means that I bid you do. Let the blowed king tempt you again to bed. Pinch wanton on your cheeks, call you his mouse, and for a pair of reechy kisses, or paddling on your neck with his damned fingers, make you to unravel all this matter out. That I essentially am not in madness, but mad in craft.
thou assured. If words are made of breath, and breath of life, I have no life to breathe what thou hast said to me.
I must to England. Oh, you know that.
Oh, alack, I had forgot. 'Tis so concluded on.
There's letters sealed. And my two schoolfellows, whom I will trust as I will adders feigned, they bear the mandate. They must sweep my way and marshal me to knavery, but let it work, for 'tis the sport to let the engineer hoist on his own bridge hard. This man shall set me packing. I'll let the guts into the neighbor room. Mother, good night. This counselor is now most secret and most brave, who was in life a foolish prating knave. Come, sir, to draw toward an end with you. Good night, Mother.
In these sighs, these profound heaves, you must translate. 'Tis fit we understand them. Where is your son?
Bestow this place on us a little while. Oh, my lord. Oh, what have I seen tonight?
What, Gertrude? How does Hamlet?
Mad. As the sea and wind when both contend which is the mightier. In his lawless fit, behind the arras, hearing something stir, whips out his rapier, cries, "A rat! A rat!" And in his brainish apprehension kills the unseen good old man.
Oh, heavy deed! It had been so with us had we been there. His liberty is full of threats to all, to you yourself, to us, to everyone. Alas, how shall this bloody deed be answered? It will be laid to us, whose providence should have kept short restrained, and out of haunt this mad young man. Where is he gone?
To draw apart the body he hath killed, or which his very madness, like some ore among a mineral of metal's base, shows itself pure, he weeps for what is done.
Oh, Gertrude, come away! The sun no sooner shall the mountains touch, but we shall ship him hence. And this vile deed we must, with all our majesty and skill, both countenance and excuse. Ho, Guildenstern! Friends both, go, join you with some further aid. Hamlet, in madness hath Polonius slain, and from his mother's closet hath he dragged him. Go seek him out, speak fair, and bring the body into the chapel. I pray you haste in this. Come, Gertrude, we'll call up our wisest friends, and let them know both what we mean to do and what's untimely done. Oh, come away. My soul is full of discord and dismay.
Safely stowed. Noise! Who calls on Hamlet? Oh, here they come.
What have you done, my lord, with the dead body?
Compounded it with dust, whereto 'tis kin.
Oh, tell us what 'tis, that we may take it thence and bear it to the chapel.
Do not believe it.
Believe what?
That I can keep your counsel and not mine own, but to be remanded of a sponge, what application should be made of the son of a king?
Take you me for a sponge, my lord?
Aye, sir. One that soaks up the king's countenance, his rewards, his authorities. But such officers do the king best service in the end. He keeps them like an ape in the corner of his jaw, first mouthed to be last swallowed. When he needs what you have gleaned, it is but squeezing you, and sponges shall be dry again.
I understand you not, my lord.
I'm glad of it. A knavish speech sleeps in a foolish ear.
My lord, you must tell us where the body is, and go with us to the king.
The body is with the king, but the king is not with the body. The king is a thing.
A thing, my lord?
Of nothing. Take me to him. Hide fox and all laughter.
I have sent to seek him and to find the body. How dangerous is it this young man goes loose? Yet must not we put the strong law on him? He's loved of the distracted multitude, who like not in their judgment but their eyes. This sudden sending him away must seem deliberate pause. Diseases desperate grown by desperate appliance are relieved or not at all. How now? What hath befallen?
Where the dead body is bestowed, my lord, we cannot get from him.
Bring him before us.
Oh, Guildenstern, bring in my lord.
Now, Hamlet, where is Polonius?
At supper.
At supper where?
Not where he eats, but where he is eaten.
A convocation of politic worms are e'en at him. Your worm is your only emperor for diet. We fat all creatures else to fat ourselves, and we fat ourselves for maggots. Your fat king and your lean beggar are but variable service. 2 meals, but to 1 table.
Alas, alas.
That's the end. A man may fish with a worm that hath eat of a king, and eat of a fish that hath eat of that worm.
What dost you mean by this?
Nothing, but to show you how a king may go a progress through the guts of a beggar.
Where is Polonius?
In heaven. Send hither to see. If your messenger find him not there, seek him in the other place yourself. But if you find him not within the month, you shall nose him as you go up the stairs into the lobby.
Go seek him there.
He will stay till you come.
Hamlet! This deed, for thine especial safety, which we do tender as we dearly grieve for that which thou hast done, must send thee hence with fiery quickness. Therefore prepare thyself. The bark is ready, the wind is at help, the associates tend, and everything is bent for England.
For England.
Aye, Hamlet.
Good.
So is it if thou knewest our purposes.
I see a cherub that sees them. But come, for England. Farewell, my mother.
Thy loving father, Hamlet.
My mother. Father and mother are man and wife. Man and wife are one flesh. And so, my mother. Come, for England.
Follow him at foot. Tempt him with speed aboard. Delay it not. I'll have him hence tonight. Away, for everything is sealed and done that else leans on this affair. Pray you, make haste. In England, if my love thou hold'st at aught, and thy free awe pays homage to us, thou mayst not coldly set our sovereign process, which imports it full by letters congruing to that effect, the present death of Hamlet. Do it, England, for like the hectic in my blood he rages, and thou must cure me. Till I know 'tis done, howe'er my haps, my joys were ne'er begun.
I will not speak with her.
She is importunate, indeed distract. Her mood will needs be pitied.
What would she have?
She speaks much of her father, says she hears there's tricks in the world, and hems. Beats her heart, spurns enviously at straws, speaks things in doubt that carry, but half-sense her speech is nothing.
For good she were spoken with. For she may strew dangerous conjectures in ill-breeding minds.
Let her come in. Oh, to my sick soul, as sin's true nature is each toy seems prologue to some great amiss. So full of artless jealousy is guilt, it spills itself in fearing to be spilt.
Where is the beauteous majesty of Denmark?
Oh no, Ophelia.
How should I, your true love, know from another one? By his couple hat and his staff and his sandal shoe.
And now, sweet lady, what imports the sense?
Say you, nay, pray you, mark! He is dead and gone, lady, he is dead and gone. At his head a grass-green turf, at his heels a stone.
Nay, but Ophelia.
Pray you, mark! White his shroud as the mountain snow,
Bless my lord,
watered with sweet flowers, which be wept to the grave did go, with true love shower.
How do you, pretty lady?
Well, God yield you! They say the owl was a baker's daughter, Lord! We know who we are, but we know not what we may be. God be at your table.
Conceit upon her father.
Pray you, let's have no more words of this. But when they ask you what it all means, say you this. Tomorrow is St. Valentine's Day. On the morning betime, and I am made at your window to be your Valentine. Then up he rose and donned his clothes and ducked the chamber door, let in a maid that out a maid never departed more.
Pretty Ophelia, how long hath she been thus?
I hope all will be well. We must be patient. And yet I cannot choose but weep to think they should lay him in the cold ground. My brother shall know of it. And so, I thank you for your good counsel. Come, my coach. Good night, ladies. Good night, sweet ladies. Good.
Follow her close. Give her good watch, I pray you. Oh, this is the poison of deep grief. It springs all from her father's death. Oh, Gertrude. Gertrude, when sorrows come, they come not single spies, but in battalions. First her father slain, next your son gone, and he most violent author of his own just remove. Poor Ophelia, divided from herself in her fair judgment, without the which we are pictures or mere beasts.
What good noise is this?
Where is this king? Oh, the vile king, give me my father!
Calmly, good Laertes.
What is the cause, Laertes, that thy rebellion looks so giant-like? Do not fear our person. Tell us, Laertes, why thou art thus incensed. Speak, man.
Where's my father?
Dead.
But not by him.
Let him demand his fill.
How came he dead? I'll not be juggled with. Let come what comes, only I'll be most thoroughly revenged for my father.
Who shall stay you?
My will, not all the world. For my means, I'll husband them so well they shall go far with little.
Good Laertes, if you desire to know the certainty of your father's death, is it writ in your revenge that swoop stake you will draw both friend and foe, winner and loser?
None but his enemies.
Will you know them then?
To his good friends thus wide I'll ope my arms, and like the kind, life-rendering pelican, repast them with my blood.
Laertes, that I am guiltless of your father's death, it shall, as level to your judgment pierce, as day does to your eye.
Oh, now what noise is that? Oh, heat! Dry up my brain. Tears 7 times salt burn out the sense and virtue of mine eye. By heaven, thy madness shall be paid by weight till our scale turn the beam. O Rose of May, dear maid, kind sister, sweet Ophelia. Heavens, is it possible a young maid's wits should be as mortal as an old man's life? Nature is fine in love. And where 'tis finest in some precious instance of itself after the thing it loves.
They bore him barefaced on a bier, hey non non nonny, hey nonny, and in his grave rained many a tear. Fare you well, my dove.
Hadst thou thy wits and didst persuade revenge, it could not move thus.
You must sing a down, and you call him a downa. How the wheel becomes it. He's the false steward that stole his master's daughter.
This nothing's more than matter.
There's rosemary. That's for remembrance. Pray, love, remember? And there's pansies. That's for thoughts. There's fiddle for you and concubines. Here's rue for you. Look, here's some for me. We may call it Herba Grace on Sundays.
You must wear your room with a difference. There's a daisy. And I would give you some violets, but they withered all when my father died. They say he made a good end. For bonny sweet Logan is all my joy.
What? An affliction, passion? Hell itself she turns to favor and to prettiness.
And will he not come again? And will he not come again? No, no, he is dead. Go to thy deathbed. He will never come again. His beard was as white as snow. All flaxen was his poll. He is gone, and we cast away mourn. God have mercy on his soul. And of all Christian souls, I pray God, God be with you.
Do you see this? Oh, God.
Laertes, I must commune with your grief, or you deny me right. Go but apart. Make choice of whom your wisest friends you will, and they shall hear and judge twixt you and me. If by direct or by collateral hand they find us touched, we will our kingdom give, our crown, our life, and all that we can ours to you in satisfaction. But if not, be you content to lend your patience to us, and we shall jointly labor with your soul to give it due content.
Let this be so. His means of death, his obscure funeral, no trophy, sword, nor hatchment, nor his bones, no noble right, nor formal ostentation. Cry to be heard as 'twere from heaven to earth, that I must call it in question.
So you shall. Where the offense lies, let the great axe fall. I pray you, go with me.
God bless you, sir.
Let him bless thee too.
I shall, sir, and please him. There's a letter for you, sir. It comes from the ambassador that was bound for England. If your name be Horatio, as I'm let to know it is.
Horatio, when thou shalt overlook this, give this fellow some means to the king. He has letters for him. Ere we were 2 days old at sea, a pirate of very warlike appointment gave us chase. Finding ourselves too slow of sail, we put on a compelled valor, and in the grapple I boarded them. On the instant they got clear of our ship, so I alone became their prisoner. They have dealt with me like thieves of mercy, but they knew what they did. I am to do a good turn for them. Let the king have the letters I have sent, and repair thou to me with as much speed as thou wouldst fly death. I have words to speak in thine ear will make thee dumb, yet are they much too light for the bore of the matter. This good fellow will bring thee where I am. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern hold their course for England. Of them I have much to tell thee. Farewell. He that thou knowest thine, Hamlet. Come, I will make you write for these your letters, and do it the speedier, that ye may bring me to him who brought you them.
Now your conscience must my acquaintance seal, and you must put me in your heart for friend, sith you have heard, and with a knowing ear, that he which hath your noble father slain pursued my life.
It well appears. But tell me why you proceeded not against these feats, so crimeful and so capital in nature, as by your safety, wisdom, all things else you mainly were stirred up.
Oh, for two special reasons, which to you may perhaps seem much unsinewed, but yet to me they are strong. The queen, his mother, lives almost by his looks. And for myself, my virtue or my plague, be it either which, she's so conjunctive to my life and soul that, as the star moved not but in his sphere, I could not but by her. The other motive why to a public account I might not go, is the love the general gender bear him, who, dipping all his faults in their affections, would, like the spring that turneth wood to stone, convert his gyves to graces, so that my arrows, too slightly timbered for so loud a wind, would have reverted to my bow again, and not where I had aimed them.
And so have I a noble father lost. A sister driven into desperate terms, whose worth, if praises may go back again, stood challenger on Mount of all the age for her perfection. But my revenge will come.
Break not your sleeps for that. You must not think that we are made of stuff so flat and dull that we can let our beard be shook with danger and think it pastime. You shortly shall hear more. I loved your father. We love ourselves, and I hope that will teach you to imagine. How now, what news?
Letters, my lord, from Hamlet. This to your majesty, and this to the queen.
From Hamlet. Who brought them?
Sailors, they say. I saw them not.
Laertes, you shall hear them. Leave us. High and mighty, you shall know I am set naked on your kingdom. Tomorrow shall I beg leave to see your kingly eyes, when I shall, first asking your pardon therein, to recount the occasion of my sudden and more strange return. Hamlet, what should this mean? Are all the rest come back, or is this some abuse and no such thing?
Know you the hand.
'Tis Hamlet's character, naked, and in a postscript here he says alone. Can you advise me?
I'm lost in it, my lord. But let him come. It warms the very sickness in my heart that I shall tell him to his teeth, thus diest thou.
If it be so, Laertes, as how should it be so? How otherwise? Will you be ruled by me?
I, my lord, so you'll not o'errule me to a peace?
To thine own peace. If he be now returned, as checking at his voyage, and that he means no more to undertake it, I'll work him to an exploit, now ripe in my device, under the which he shall not choose but fall, and for his death no wind of blame shall breathe, but even his mother shall uncharge the practice and call it accident.
My lord, I will be ruled. The rather if you could devise it so that I might be the organ.
It falls right. You have been talked of since your travel much, and that in Hamlet's hearing, for a quality wherein they say you shine.
What part is that, my lord?
2 months since, here was a gentleman of Normandy. He made confession of you and gave you such a masterly report for art and exercise in your defense, and for your rapier most especially. Now, out of this...
What out of this, my lord?
Laertes, was your father dear to you? Or are you like the painting of a sorrow, a face without a heart?
Why ask you this?
Hamlet comes back. What would you undertake to show yourself your father's son in deed more than in words?
To cut his throat in the church.
No place indeed should murder sanctuarize. Revenge should have no bounds, but, good Laertes, will you do this? Keep close within your chamber. Hamlet, returned, shall know you are come home. We'll put those on, shall praise your excellence, bring you in fine together. Lay a wager on your heads. Hamlet, being remiss and free from all cunning, will not peruse the foils, so that with ease or a little shuffling, you may choose a sword unbaited, and in a pass of practice requite him for your father.
I will do it. And for that purpose I'll anoint my sword. I bought an unction off a mountebank so mortal that, but dip a knife in it. Where it draws blood, no cataplasm so rare, collected from all simples that have virtue under the moon, can save the thing from death that is but scratched withal. I'll touch my point with this contagion, that if I gall him slightly, it may be death.
Let's further think of this. Weigh what convenience of both time and means may fit us to our shape. If this should fail, and that our drift look through our bad performance, 'twere better not essay. Therefore this project should have a back or a second, that might hold if this should blast in proof. Soft, let me see. We'll lay a solemn wager on your cunnings. I have it. When in your motions you are hot and dry, and make your bouts more violent to that end, and that he calls for drink, I'll have prepared him a chalice for the nonce, whereon but sipping, if he by chance escaped your venom stuck, our purpose may hold there. How now, sweet queen?
Oh, woe to tread upon another's heels so fast they follow. Your sister's drowned, Laertes.
Drowned. Where?
There is a willow grows aslant a brook that shows its hoar leaves in the glassy stream. There. With fantastic garlands did she come. When down her weedy trophies and herself fell in the weeping brook. Close spread wide. Mermaid-like, a while they bore her up. Which time she chanted snatches of old tunes, as one incapable of her own distress. So that her garments heavy with their drink hold the poor wretch from her melodious late muddy death.
Alas, and she is drowned.
Drowned. Drowned.
Too much of water hast thou, poor Ophelia. Therefore I forbid my tears. Yet it is our trick. Nature her custom holds. Let shame say what it will, when these are gone, the woman will be out. Adieu, my lord. I have a speech of fire that fain would blaze, but that this folly drowns it.
Let's follow, Gertrude. Much had I to do to calm his rage. Now this, I fear, will give it start again. Therefore, let's follow.
It is mine.
Thou dost lie in it. To be in it and say it is thine, 'tis for the dead, not for the quick. Therefore thou liest.
'Tis a quick lie, sir. 'Twill away again from me to you.
For what man dost thou dig it?
For no man, sir.
For what woman, then?
For none, neither.
Who is to be buried in it?
For one that was a woman, sir, but rest her soul, she's dead.
How absolute the knave is. We must speak by the card, or equivocation will undo us. How long hast thou been a grave maker?
Of all the days in the year, I came to it that day that our last King Hamlet overcame for to breath.
How long is that since?
Cannot you tell that? Every fool can tell that. It were the very day that young Hamlet was born, he that is mad and sent into England.
Aunt Mary, why is he mad? Sent into England?
Because he was mad. He shall recover his wits there, or if he do not, it's no great matter there.
Why?
'Twill not be seen in him there. There the men are as mad as he.
How came he mad?
Very strangely, they say.
How strangely?
Faith, Ian with losing his wits.
Upon what ground?
Why, here in Denmark. I have been sexton here, man and boy, 30 years.
How long will a man lie in the earth ere he rot?
Faith, if he be not rotten before he die, as we have many pocky corpses nowadays that will scarce hold laying in. This skull, sir, has lain in the earth 23 years.
Whose was it?
A whoreson mad fellow's it was. Whose do you think it was?
Nay, I know not.
A pestilence on him for a mad rogue. He poured a flagon of Rhenish on my head once. This same skull, sir, was Yurik's skull, the king's jester.
This?
E'en that.
Let me see. Lass. Poor Yorick. I know him, Horatio. A fellow of infinite jest, of most excellent fancy. He hath borne me on his back 1,000 times. And now how abhorred in my imagination. My gorge rims at it. Here hung those lips that I have kissed I know not how oft. Where be your jibes now? Your gambols, your songs, your flashes of merriment that were wont to set the table on a roar. Not one now to mock your own grinning, quite chap-falling. Now, get you to my lady's chamber and tell her. Let her paint an inch thick. To this favor she must come. Make her laugh at that. It's soft. Here comes the king, the queen, the courtiers. With such maimed rights, who is this they follow? They set the trophy and the corpse they follow. Did with desperate hand pour through its own left country a mile mark.
What ceremony else?
It's Laertes, a very noble youth.
What ceremony else?
Her obsequies have been as far enlarged as we have warranty. Her death was doubtful, and by thy great command that oversways the order, she should in ground unsanctified have lodged.
Must there no more be done?
No more be done! We should profane the service of the dead to sing a requiem and such rest to her as to peace-parted souls.
Lay her in the earth, and from her fair and unpolluted flesh may violets spring. I tell thee, churlish priest, a ministering angel shall my sister be when thou liest howling.
What? The fair Ophelia?
Sweets to the sweet. Farewell. Hope thou shouldst have been my Hamlet's wife. I thought thy bride bed to have decked and not have strewed thy grave.
O treble woe. Fall 10 times treble on that cursed head whose wicked deed I most ingenious since deprived thee of. Hold off the earth a while. So I have caught her once more in mine arms.
What is he whose grief bears such an emphasis, whose phrase of sorrow conjures the wandering stars and makes them stand like wondering tears? This is I, Hamlet the Dane.
Take thy soul!
Thou prayest not well! I prithee take thy fingers from my throat, from thou art thus split into and wretched half. I
Pluck them asunder!
To let thy wife's despair. Hold up your hands! My lord! Be quiet! What? I will fight with him upon this theme until my eyelids are no longer wide.
Oh, my son, what theme?
I loved Ophelia. 40,000 brothers with all their quantity of love could not make up my son. What wilt thou do for her?
Oh, he's mad, Laertes.
Show me what they'll do. Would weep, would fight, would fast. I'll do it. Dost thou come here to whine tall face who's sleeping in her grave? Very quick with me, and so will I.
This is mere madness. So a while the fate will work on him. Anon, as patient as the female dove when that her golden couplets are disclosed. Silence will sit drooping.
Hear you, sir. What is the reason that you use me thus? I loved you ever, but it is no matter. Let Hercules do what he may. The cat will mew, and the dog will have his day.
I pray you, good Horatio, wait upon him. Strengthen your patience in our last night's speech. We'll put the matter to the present push. Gertrude, set some watch over your son. This grave shall have a living monument. An hour of quiet shortly shall we see. Till then, in patience, our proceeding be.
by their own insinuation grow.
What a king is this?
Does it not? Thinks thee, stand me now upon, he that hath killed my king, and hoard my mother, popped in between the election and my hopes, thrown out his angle from my proper life, and with such cousinage. Is it not proper conscience to quit him with this arm? But I am very sorry that to Laertes I forgot myself. For by the image of my cause I see the portraiture of his. I will court his favors, but sure, the bravery of his grief did put me into a towering peace.
Who comes here?
Your lordship is a right welcome back to Denmark.
I humbly thank you, sir. Dost know this waterfly?
No, my lord.
Thy state is more gracious, for 'tis a vice to know him. He hath much land and fertile. Let a beast be lord of beasts, and his crib shall sit at the king's mess. 'Tis a chuff, but, as I said, spacious in his possession of dirt.
Sweet lord, if your lordship were at leisure, I would impart a thing to you from his majesty.
I shall receive it, sir, with all diligence of spirit. Your bonnet to his right use. 'Tis for the head.
I thank your lordship. It's very hot.
Believe me, it is very cold. The wind is northerly.
Indifferent cold, my lord, indeed.
But yet, methinks it is very hot and sultry for my complexion.
Exceedingly, my lord, it is very sultry. As 'twere, I cannot tell. But, my lord, his majesty bade me signify to you that he hath laid a great wager on your head. Sir, this is the matter.
I beseech you, sir, remember.
Nay, good my lord, for mine ease, in good faith. Sir, here is newly come to court Laertes. Believe me, an absolute gentleman, full of most excellent differences, of very soft society and great showing. Indeed, to speak feelingly of him, he is the card or calendar of gentry, for you shall find in him the continent of what part a gentleman would see.
Sir, his definement suffers no perdition in you. Though I know, to divide him inventorially would dizzy the arithmetic of the memory. And yet, but you are neither in respect of his quick sail, but in the verity of extolment, I take him to be a soul of great article, and his infusion of such dearth and rareness, as to make true diction of him. His semblable is his mirror, and who else would trace him? His umbrage, nothing more.
Your lordship speaks most infallibly of him.
The concernancy, sir, why do we wrap the gentleman in our more raw breath?
Sir?
Is it not possible to understand in another tongue? You shall do it, sir, really.
What imports the nomination of the gentleman?
Of Laertes.
His purse is empty already. All his golden words are spent.
Of him, sir.
I know you are not ignorant of
Oh,
what...
I wish you did, sir. But in faith, if you did, it would not much approve me. Well, sir?
I know you are not ignorant of what excellence Laertes is.
I dare not confess that, lest I should compare with him in excellence. But to know a man well were to know himself.
I mean for his weapon. When the imputation laid on him by them in his need, he's unfellowed.
What's his weapon?
Rapier and dagger.
That's two of his weapons, but...
The king,
well,
sir, hath wagered with him 6 Barbary horses, against the which he has imponed, as I take it, 6 French rapiers and poignards.
why is this imponed, as you call it?
The king, sir, hath laid that in a dozen passes between yourself and him. He shall not exceed you 3 hits. It laid on 12 for 9, and it would come to immediate trial if your lordship would vouchsafe the answer.
What if I say no?
I mean, my lord, the opposition of your person in trial.
Sir, I will walk in the hall if it please his majesty. 'Tis the breathing time of day with me. Let the foils be brought, the gentleman willing, the king hold his purpose. I will win for him, and I can. If not, I gain nothing but my shame and the few odd hits.
Shall I redeliver your message e'en so?
To this effect, sir, after what flourish your nature might.
Commend my duty to your lordship.
Yours! Yours! He does well to commend it himself. There are no tongues else for his turn.
You will lose this wager, my lord.
I do not think so. Since he went into France, I have been in continual practice. I shall win at the odds. But you would not think it, how ill all's here about my heart. But it is no matter.
Nay, good my lord.
'Tis but foolery. Such a kind of gatekeeping as would perhaps trouble a woman.
If your mind dislike anything, obey it. I will forestall their repair hither and say you are not fit.
Not a whit. We defy augury. There is a special providence in the fall of a sparrow. If it be now, 'tis not to come. If it be not to come, then it will be now. If it be not now, yet it will come. The readiness is all. Since no man has aught of what he leaves, what is it to leave betimes?
Come, Hamlet. Come. And take this hand from me.
Give me your pardon, sir. I've done you wrong. But pardon it as you are a gentleman. This presence knows, and you must needs have heard, how I am punished with sore distraction. What I have done that might your nature, honor, and exception roughly awake, I here proclaim was madness. Was Hamlet wronged, Laertes? Never Hamlet. If Hamlet from himself be taken away, and in his madness does wrong Laertes, then Hamlet does it wrong, not. Who does it then? His madness. If it be so, Hamlet is of the faction that is wronged. His madness is poor Hamlet's enemy. Sir, in this audience, let my disclaiming from a purpose evil free me so far in your most generous thoughts that I have shot mine arrow o'er the house and hurt my brother.
I am satisfied in nature, whose motive in this case should stir me most to my revenge. But in my terms of honor I stand aloof, and will no reconcilement, till by some elder masters of known honor I have a voice and precedent of peace to keep my name ungored. But till that time, I do receive your offered love like love, and will not wrong it.
I embrace it freely, and will this brother's wager frankly play. Come, give us the foils.
Come, one for me.
I'll be your foil, Laertes. In mine ignorance, your skill shall like a star in the darkest night stick fiery off indeed.
You mock me, sir.
No, by this hand.
Give them the foils, young Osric. Cousin Hamlet, you know the wager.
Very well, my lord. You would place the odds on the weaker side.
I do not fear it. I have seen you both. But since he is better, I have, therefore, odds.
This one is too heavy. Let me see another.
This likes me well. These foils come all away.
My good, my lord.
Set me the stoups of wine upon that table. If Hamlet give the first or second hit, or quit in answer to the third exchange, let all the battlements their ordnance fire. The king shall drink to Hamlet's better breath, and in the cup a union shall he throw, richer than that which 4 successive kings in Denmark's crown have worn. Give me a cup. Now the king drinks to Hamlet. Come, begin. And you, the judges, bear a wary eye.
Oh, One!
No!
Judgment!
A hit, a very palpable hit.
Roll again!
Stay. Give me drink. Hamlet, this pearl is thine. Here's to thy health. Give him the cup.
Let me play this bout first. Set it by a while. Another hit! What say you?
A touch! A touch, I do confess.
Our son shall win.
Come here, Hamlet. Take my napkin, rub thy brow. The queen carouses to your fortune, Hamlet.
Gertrude! Do not drink.
I will, my lord. I pray you pardon me.
It is the poisoned cup. It is too late.
I dare not drink yet, madam. By and by.
Come, let me wipe thy face.
I will hasten this time, my lord.
I do not think it.
Yet 'tis almost against my conscience.
Come! For the third, Laertes. Pass with your best violence. I fear you make a wanton of me.
Say you so. Come.
Nothing, neither way.
How about you now?
Part them, they are incensed.
Nay. Come again.
Look to the queen there! Oh!
Lead on both sides! How is it, my lord?
How is it, Laertes?
As a woodcut to mine own spring, Joshua, I am justly killed by mine own treachery.
How does the queen...
She swoons to see them bleed.
No, no, the drink.
Hamlet, I am poisoned. No! Treachery! Let the doors be locked! Seek it out!
It is here, Hamlet! Hamlet, thou art slain. No medicine in the world can do thee good. And neither is not half an hour of life. The treacherous instrument is in thy hand, unbaited and envenomed. The foul practice hath turned itself on me. Oh, here I lie, never to rise again. Thy mother's poisoned. I can no more. The king! The king's to blame!
Appointing men unsealed, done of my work!
Treason! Treason!
Oh, yet defend me, friends. I have been hurt.
Oh, murderous! Such a damn state drink off this potion is thy union here! God, my mother!
He is justly served. It is a poison tempered by himself. Exchange forgiveness with me, Hamlet. Mine and my father's death come not upon thee, nor thine upon me.
Heaven make thee free of him. I follow thee. When I am dead, Horatio. Wretched queen. But you! You that look pale and tremble at this chance, will I but time for this fell Sergeant Douglas in his arrest? Oh, I could tell. But let it be. Horatio, I am dead. Thou livest? Report me and my cousin Ray to the unsatisfied.
Never believe it. I am more an antique Roman than a dame. Here's your some curl.
Give me the cup, like, oh my heaven, oh heaven! Oh, Horatio, what a wounded man. Things standing thus unknown shall look behind me. If thou didst ever hold me in thy heart, absent thee from felicity while, and in this harsh world draw thy breath in pain to tell my story. Oh, this potent potion quite o'ercomes my spirit. The rest is silent.
Now cracks a noble heart. Good night, sweet prince, and let flights of angels